because this is going to be good stuff. So welcome back to Culinary 121, Eatery Creations, we just called at the beginning, the first lab class for you guys. We're talking about the knife, right? Correct way to hold the knife. Between thumb and forefinger at the bolster, other 3 fingers around the handle, and again what this does is lock the knife in place rather than the club grip where the knife can spin. So my right hand is my knife hand, and you might think that the knife hand is the most important hand in knife skills. No, 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 no. The non-knife hand, the most important hand in knife skills by far. No way for me to cut my knife hand, all kinds of ways for me to cut my non-knife hand, right? So what we do is, when you have an item, you got a piece of celery or something. Have a piece of celery. People try and grab the celery. You guys can all, if you want, you can all come up. People try and grab the celery so tightly as if it's going to magically float up off the cutting board or something, right? We don't have to have a death grip on the celery. But one of the problems is when you start cutting the celery, you never quite know when you're going to get to the tips of these fingers, right? That's the scariest part, is getting to the tips of the fingers. Well, my right hand, my knife hand, is dumb. Okay? This hand is stupid. It has really nothing to do but stay on the cutting board and move up and down. It's what we call Tip Fulcrum Method. A fulcrum, imagine a seesaw, 2 little kids on either end of a seesaw. The triangle in the middle is the fulcrum, is where the seesaw tips on. When we talk about a tip fulcrum method for using the knife, that means that the tip stays on the cutting board. It becomes the fulcrum for the stroke. So that with my correct grip, thumb and forefinger around the handle like that, tip on the cutting board, my knife hand, my right hand, is dumb. Its only job is to go back, up, and forward. Back, up, and forward. Not like a movie clapper. Not like that, right? I tell people it's like dipping water from a bucket with a spoon, right? You don't imagine a bucket of water. You don't just plop the spoon in, bring it right back up. You dip the spoon in, it comes forward a little bit, it comes back to you. It's a circular motion. Why is it a circular motion? Because you have the length of this very sharp blade. So that if you were just to come up and down on it, you're crushing items. Imagine a loaf of bread, like a baguette or something like that. You put it under there, you go like that, you're going to wind up with an oblong piece of baguette. Right? So the idea would be moving the knife forward, up, this is exaggerated, back, forward, up, back, forward, like dipping water from a bucket with a spoon. Okay? Knife hand, dumb, tip fulcrum method, up and back, up and back. The brains of the operation is the left hand. The left hand holds the items, but again, we don't want to hit those fingers. So what we do, kung fu grip. All my fingers, thumb tucked underneath. I call this kung fu grip. And the safest way to use the chef's knife is by making sure your 2 hands are always together. So the right hand, my knife hand, being dumb, its only job, tip fulcrum method, it's my left hand that dictates the increment of the cut. So if I keep these 2 together and the knife rides off the knuckle of my left hand, certainly not bringing it above the knuckle because then you impart a red food coloring that we don't want, but it rides off the knuckle of the left hand. So when I come down on the celery, the knife comes forward using the sharpness of the edge. As it comes up, my left hand will move the increment that I want to cut it. The knife goes back against the knuckle. Up, left hand moves the increment that I want. The knife finds the knuckle, down again. If the left hand moves in very small increments, you get very small cuts. Right? You get really thin cuts. If my non-knife hand moves in larger increments, you get larger cuts. Look at that, that's pretty good. When I went to culinary school, they used to come around with a ruler and they would measure each individual cut. I hated it. It was so annoying. I'm going to be doing it to you. I get to do that. This is the ideal, that when you cut 3 items, they are all exactly the same size. Consistency of cut is consistency of cook, right? We talked about that. So, right hand, tip fulcrum method. against the knuckle of my left hand. The left hand, the brains of the operation. Down on the item. When the knife comes up, the left hand moves, the knife finds the knuckle again, comes down, makes your next cut. Up, finds the knuckle, down, makes the next cut. So this is the safest way to use your knife. All right, 5 fingers, no blood. Thank you very much. Save your applause to the end. I'll be here all week. Don't forget your bartenders and waitresses. It shows you that this is the safest way to cut things, right? I mean, you don't have to stare down at this and look at it, each one. Or better yet, this. Everybody, this thing, the Mezzaluna thing, right? Where you get something, and there's one, get them, don't let that one get away, get that one over there, and get this. And all you're doing is further inconsistently cutting things, right? If consistency of cut is consistency of cook, why do you go around doing this, mashing things up? Cut it correctly the first time. Tip Fulcrum Method with your knife hand. Against the knuckle of your left hand. Back and forth. Notice how the knife starts at the tip here. By the time I've cut, I'm at the heel. Got it? So we're using the edge of the knife in this respect. Not like that. The edge of the sharp knife. I mean, when you're really good at it, how many cuts do you think I can get out of this little piece? 50? All right, anybody want to count those?